So, command points have changed in chapter approved War Zone Nephilim. You now have to pay for your relic. But is it worth the point? And what are the best Necron relics? It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, today we're looking at Necron Relics. This is a video in a mini-series I'm making. The previous video was on Necron Warlord traits, and you can find that linked up in the description below. But for today, we're looking at relics. I'm going to categorise these into three categories. Category 1 will be the best ones, 2 will be the situational ones, 3 will be the very situational ones. Right, let's do this. Okay, so the first relic is Orb of Eternity. Model with the Resurrection Orb only. This relic replaces a Resurrection Orb. Model with the Resurrection Orb only once per battle. Each time a reanimation protocol roll is made, add 1 to the result. So first of all, you have to pay for your Resurrection Orb. Fair enough. And then you can do an extra RP in your command phase. And of course, when you take the orb upgrade as a relic, you can do it on a 4+, very useful. You'd get the most out of this on bigger units, things like big squads of warriors or flayed ones, but it can be very useful as well for multi-wounded models. So if you had a unit of Scorpex or Wraiths and they were badly wounded, you can pop the Resurrection Orb off, and on a 4+, you've got a good chance of getting your models back. So the Orb of Eternity is a great relic, and it's going to make it into Category 1. Next, it's Nano Scarab Casket. Each time the bearer uses its living metal ability, it regains 1 additional lost wound. Pretty useful, because an extra wound back is always nice. However, I find that my characters, who obviously will be taking this, they tend to die very quickly. So if they do get targeted either from shooting because I've accidentally exposed them, or they're in close combat, then they just die. You generally don't get a chance to do your living metal ability, with the exception of maybe on the command barge, because you are a little bit more durable, and the command barge obviously getting 2 wounds back is very nice. However, I think it is fairly situational. It certainly isn't the best one out of the lot, so I'm going to put it in Category 2 also. Right, next it's Gauntlet of the Conflagrator. So a 12-inch pistol, 1 shot, with no strength, no AP and no damage. However, each time an attack is made with this weapon, that attack automatically hits the target. Instead of making a wound roll, roll 1d6 for each model in the target. That unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each result of a 6, and the attack sequence ends. So what I like about this is not limiting you to how many 6s. So I mean, there are some rules where you can do a maximum of 4 mortal wounds. So if you roll really well against a unit with lots of models in, you could kill a bunch of guys. However, it is only 12 inches. This is the relic of choice when you're taking a Hexmark Destroyer, because the Hexmark Destroyer is going to be targeting bigger units, so this will come into its own. The Hexmark Destroyer, deep striking in, shooting its 6 guns, and then of course you've got the Gauntlet of Conflagrator as well, doing those extra mortal wounds. If you're taking Hexmark Destroyer, then this is worth having. Is it worth having over some of the other relics? Is it worth paying an extra CP for? I think maybe only time will tell as we play more games with the limited structure of CPs. But overall, I do like this one. However, it is situational. I wouldn't put this on my normal character. I'd only put it on the Hexmark Destroyer. So it's going to be in Category 2 once again. Right, next up, the Veil of Darkness. Once per battle in your movement phase, the bearer can use this relic. If it does, the bearer's unit and up to 1 friendly dynasty core unit within 3 inches of the bearer, I'm out of breath, can be removed from the battlefield and set back up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from any enemy models. If 2 units are set back up on the battlefield using this relic, both units must be placed wholly within 6 inches of each other. And of course, now we have a lot more core units. The Veil of Darkness already went up in the world for the relics because, well, you can use it on more units like Scorpec Destroyers, and of course, this is something which you can use in any game. It's multi-purpose. You can use it to attack your opponent. Just take a unit and go out. You can assault after you've used the Veil. You can obviously shoot as well. So it's quite good if you want to just take a shooting blob with you. It's quite good if you want to take an assault blob with you. It also helps you if you want to just hold back, not use it early in the game, and maybe just use it to come out of assault. So if the opponent assaults you, you could just Veil out your unit, and then that unit is left there standing for you to shoot at. It's also pretty good, and I've used it like this as well, where you can basically just jump on an objective which you can't normally get to early in the game. You can just Veil over a unit of, say, Immortals or something onto that objective. As you can tell, I like this one, and 100% is going to be one of the best relics we have. It's in the #1 spot. Right, next, it's the Voltaic Staff. Replaces the Staff of Light. Shooting 18 inches, 4 attacks, strength 6, -2 AP and 2 damage. You can also use it in melee and you just get whatever attacks your character has, but it gives you that +1 to strength as well as -2 and 2 damage. Plus, each time a shooting attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified hit roll scores 2 additional hits. What I like about this is you don't have to take a Warsight on a character to make the character pretty decent. In close combat, you can take the Voltaic Staff because it gives you that +1 to strength in close combat, meaning your strength 6, not bad. Not quite as good as a standard Warsight, but not bad. And of course, -2 AP and 2 damage. But not only that, it has great benefits for the shooting side of things because you get 4 attacks shooting, any 6s give you additional attacks, and then a very nice strength 6, -2 and 2 damage. I like to use this on my Catacomb Command Barge. I think for me it's another one which is going to be in the top of this list, so we're going to put it into position 1. Okay, we're moving on now to the Void Reaper, one of the most popular relics in the previous editions. It replaces a Warsight or a Void Scythe. It's a melee weapon, +2 to strength, -4 AP and does 3 damage. This does make a Warsight very powerful. Plus, each time a shooting attack is made with this weapon, rules that ignore wounds cannot be used. That doesn't sound right. Check the codex, Nick. Yes, I did type these all out manually. Have I got it wrong? Yes, I've got it wrong. Of course, it's not shooting attacks, it's just attacks. So when you're in close combat and you make attacks with this weapon, if the opponent has rules which ignore wounds, well, they can't use them against this weapon. You do have to pay for your Warsight first, and that's another thing which I like about the Voltaic Staff, is you don't have to upgrade to the Warsight to get it. You can take the bog standard Staff of Light, it keeps the points down, and just going back to the other relic because it's very good. If you take it on the Command Barge, of course, you could have Tesla underneath and then you have double exploding 6s when you shoot. Anyway, back to this one, the Void Reaper. If you're trying to do a beefed up close combat character, this could be for you. But again, I think it's pretty situational because you're probably not going to benefit from this too much. Don't think it's the greatest one. I'm going to put it in category 2. Okay, so I'm going to try to pronounce this. Sempiternal Weave. Infantry noble models only. Add 1 to the toughness and wound characteristics of the bearer. So yeah, pretty useful actually. I like this. You get a toughness bonus and you get wounds bonus. You can't go wrong with that, just making your character tougher and more durable with those extra wounds. So not much else to say about this. This is a good one. I don't use it myself, I have to be honest, because I'm usually taking the Veil or the Voltaic Staff or both of those, but this is definitely an alternative. So it's going to be in the top category. Right, the Arrow of Infinity replaces a Tachyon arrow, shooting 120 inches. Such a big range for a small board. Strength 16, -5 AP, d6 damage once per battle. Sounds awesome, doesn't it? Such a good range, fantastic strength, great AP, great damage, only once per battle, and of course it replaces the tachyon arrow. Are you using overlords with tachyon arrows? Me personally, no. I'm finding that you either don't have a very good shooting range, or whenever I shoot with it, I miss. It sounds really good, but for me it's not the greatest one in the world. You could use it maybe an army full of loads of characters with tachyon arrows, and yeah, but no. So sadly for me, this is going to be in category 3. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the dedicated Dynasty relics. And the first one is the Mefret Dynasty Conduits of Stars. Replaces a relic Gauss Blaster. A shooting attack, 36 inches, rapid fire 3, strength 6, -2 and 2 damage. Basically, this is designed for Royal Wardens, of course. And are you taking Royal Wardens? I know I'm not. There's far better HQs now. He's a very cool miniature. He does give you the ability to fall back and shoot with a unit. It's very nice, but just not the best HQ. And, well, maybe in the Mefret Dynasty you might be taking the Royal Warden, but will you be taking this relic? I doubt it. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's probably one to put in the bottom of the list. So it's going in category 3. Right, next it's the Nephrek Solar Staff. Replaces the Staff of Light. Shooting, 24 inches. Attacks, 6. Strength 5, -2 AP, 1 damage. Melee, user strength, -2 AP and 1 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon against an infantry unit, if a hit is scored, then until the end of the turn that unit is blinded. Blinded units cannot fire Overwatch or set to defend. Okay, so the actual staff itself, 6 attacks, is very nice. That's a good amount of attacks for a Staff of Light. But let's face it, the special rule, the blinded rule, could be really useful. Stopping your opponent overwatching when you assault, or even stopping them to set to defend. If you're playing the Nephrek, then this could be pretty useful to put onto one of your Cryptechs. And of course it's got a range of 24 inches, so you don't have to get the Cryptech really close to allow you to do this. So I'm liking it. This is going to be in the top category for me. Okay, next is Nihilic. Yes, that one. Infinity Mantle. Add 1 to armor saving throws made for the bearer. Each time the bearer would lose a wound, roll 1d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost. So, +1 to your armor save. That is really nice. And you get an after save, but only on a 6+. But still, it will help some of your characters be more survivable. This is actually pretty decent. I don't think it's quite top tier, but I am going to put it in category 2. Right, next it's the close combat guys. Novok Blood Scythe. Replaces a Void Scythe or a War Scythe. Melee, +2 to strength, -4 AP and does 2 damage. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 2 additional attacks with this weapon. So basically this is again aimed for close combat Novok characters that maybe are holding a War Scythe. Are you going to really get them in close combat? Potentially, you might get your command barge in close combat. Will you be taking the Voltic Staff or this? Personal choice, obviously, but I actually prefer to have the Voltic Staff and stand back and shoot and only get into combat if I need to. I'll let my Wraiths, my Destroyers, my Flayed ones do the combat, and the Barge just sits back, supports with some shooting, and of course mine will be done. However, if you take this, 2 extra attacks is very nice, and obviously +2 to strength. So it's a beefed up War Scythe. I'd like to see more damage than just 2, but hey ho, you can't have it all. I'm going to put this into category 2. Right, next it's the Sotek Dynasty, the Fanaquisher's Mask. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. That unit is not eligible to fight this phase until after all eligible units from your army have done so. Well, I think we all know that stopping your opponent from fighting first is really useful. So pretty good. Against Sotek, are they a close combat dynasty? Probably not. So I don't know about this one. I think it's situational. Again, I'm going to put it in category 2. It certainly isn't the best one. If you're playing Sotek though, it could be useful. Right, Serican, the Sovereign Coronal. Command Wave Amplifier. This is an aura. While a friendly Serican unit is within 9 inches of the bearer, that unit benefits from the selective directive of your army's active command protocols, while it is within 9 inches of a friendly Necron's character model, not Catan's, instead of 6. Synthetic Corex Enhancer Aura. While a friendly Serican core unit is within 9 inches of the bearer, that unit benefits from both directives of your army's active command protocols instead of just the one selected. So you get a bigger range for your command protocols, 9 inches instead of 6. So you have to be within 9 inches of a friendly Serican unit, and then you have to be within 9 inches of a character as opposed to the 6s. So pretty nice. If you're playing a full Serican list, this will be a very good option. So I am going to put it in the top category. So those are my top relics. We've got 2 Dynasty dedicated one, the Nephiric and the Zerican. And then we've got the Weave, the Voltic Staff, Veil of Darkness, and of course the Orb of Eternity. I'd quite happily pay a CP for any of those, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments box below. And if you want to see the other videos in the series, then here is the playlist. And if you want to see my best Necron units playlist, then there's the videos for you to check out next.